realized we were recording. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
That was a very awkward pause.
And this is the Knit Girls episode number 20. We're no longer teenagers, we're in our 20s.
We are,
Episode
wow.
And I'm in my 30s, that's why I'm wearing a tiara. Because Laura suggested I wear one, because I turned 30 and I'm old.
still in my 20s.
Until March 30th.
Yep.
And
Until the day that Reagan was shot.
it's depressing.
March 30th, 1981. That's the day I was born.
Okay. Alright, well, on that somber note.
He lived, so it's okay.
Works in progress. What are you working on?
I'm working on my featherweight cardi. I'm in the mauve row, so that's not the best thing. I'm sure Jessica's kicking my butt. I have, after this row, I have 17 more increased rows to go, and then I can separate the sleeves from the body. So, and it's knit from the top down, which is how I prefer to knit my sweaters. It's not the easiest knitting in the world. You would think it would be, because it's stockinette.
I was going to say, it just looks like stockinette.
But, I think it's a combination of the Malibrigou lace. It just, the size 6 needles, I kind of have to think about every stitch. So, it's taking a little while. In fact, you told me earlier that you saw no progress whatsoever.
It doesn't seem like it's gotten that much bigger, but
Yeah.
it is knit with lace weight, so...
I haven't knit a whole lot this week either, because I had 2 open houses this week and a bunch of other stuff going on. So, my knitting time's been very small.
What else have you got?
Oh, I was like, do I have anything
There are
else?
other things.
I hear that there are other things. The footprint socks now have a heel, and I love how it's striped on the heel. And I love how it's striping in general. So I have like, it's around an inch past the heel, so maybe 3 more inches to go, and then I'll do an inch of the green for the cuff. And then one will be done. And then I'll start on the second one.
Now the green was supposed to be heels and toes, right? But you decided to use it for heels and cuff.
Yeah. Well, it can be whatever you want within the limits of the size of this bowl.
She's a rule breaker.
Well, yeah, I guess it's footprints. And this is the Caribbean Cooler color. I don't know if I've said that before. So it's 300 yards of a multicolor and then 100 yards of a solid. Ta-da! I don't know if I need to get that closer or not. So anyway, that's that. And then last but not least, we got some Blackthorn needles to review, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I was knitting a mockery sock out of some JoJo Lands. I always get their names confused because this is their superwash Melody. They're all music for the most part. And I got this at the lovely Yarn Craving store, which I loved. In fact, when I left that store, my father was like, if you were to own a yarn shop, it would be like this. But I'm actually going to rip this out, and it's not the fault of the needles or the yarn. It's the fact that Leslie chose this pattern, and you can't see it.
When all else fails, blame your friend.
No, so I, in fact, I'm going to rip it out as we go. I came over last week and I had this yarn and I was like, hey, what should I make out of it? And she suggested the mockery socks, which Leslie did a gorgeous pair of mockery socks 2 years ago, 1 year ago?
About a year ago for Jack.
About a year ago for our friend Lisa's partner Jack. And they're gorgeous and they look awesome. And this is just a classic pattern yarn fail. You just can't see the pattern in the yarn. And it's over 72 stitches, which is really big for me.
For you, yeah.
And it's not, I thought maybe it was a cable because it kind of zigzags. They're really cool socks, but it's not. It's actually a lace pattern. So that makes them puff out even more. So they're going to be too big. The pattern's not showing with the yarn.
It's a great pattern though.
And it's a great pattern, and it's great yarn, and it's great needles, so it should be all the winning combinations, but it is not in a
You never know, until you cast on for it.
But I love this yarn because it's
a real slow...
It's 2 plies, but it's a very slow striping yarn, which I've used their worsted before, and this is my first time using their superwash fingering. But it'll be interesting to see how it wears, because it might replace Noro for me if it wears really well.
Noro, I'm not a big fan of their lighter fingering weight.
Yeah. But it is plied too, whereas Nora is not.
This is true, so it does give you that advantage.
More stability. So, that's it for me. That's all I have on my needles. I'm looking around like I should have something else, but...
So,
no.
On my needles, as Laura pointed out to me as we were about to record, this baby hat, which is getting almost too big to be a baby hat at this point, I'm decreasing now, that I started on a while ago for the podcast just to have something boring to knit. So I'm doing decreases now. I should be done with it this evening.
Babies have deceptively big heads.
Yeah, and it'll fit some baby, even if it's not a newborn baby.
Yeah.
Somebody's
They'll
baby
grow into
will
it.
wear it. My other work in progress, I've got stuff strewn out everywhere. For our friend Lynn Zim's fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I offered to knit a pair of socks for the winner of a drawing if you donated a certain amount, and Beverly Love, I love that name, her Ravelry name is Palette PC.
She does gorgeous spinning. We've talked about her spinning before.
And she's relatively new to spinning too. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. She spins a lot.
Yeah, she does.
Practice makes perfect.
So she chose this Plucky Knitter yarn, which is sort
That's
of
really pretty.
a gray-green, and it is a Seasail blend, so it does have some spots where it's like slubby, but that's easy enough to pick out as I go without really making the socks any less sturdy. This is the pattern that she picked. It's a Windy Knits pattern from the Toe Up Socks.
Oh, that's pretty.
And it's wrought iron, which is one that I had queued anyway, so...
And that's very up your
Yes.
lane.
I told her to
knitting.
pick something that she likes, but she wouldn't take the time to knit for herself. So, this is what I'm working
That's
on.
very pretty.
This morning I finished... Well, I took them to work last night because I had to fill in for somebody else on a Saturday night, which I have to do about once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks. And normally it's pretty slow, and I get in a little bit of knitting time, not much. That did not happen last night at all.
You had like a server go down or something.
Well,
right?
yeah, something like that. Without getting into boring details for y'all. It ended up being a firewall issue. But I had to go out to the casino floor and visit each one of the little cash machines where you can change your ticket for cash, or you can use it as an ATM.
People get upset when those don't
They
work.
really do.
Because they want to spend their money.
And you have to go through security and get a key and call somebody. Anyway, it's this big production. It took all freaking night to fix. But anyway, I didn't get any knitting done on them last night, but I did get through one repeat this morning. And I'm starting on the second repeat. So this is what it looks like right now. And I really like the combination of the yarn and the pattern. And I had to make a couple of modifications to fit her size, but it was very easy. Wendy helped me make the modifications, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I emailed her and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And she's like, just do this and this. Okay. So...
That's why Wendy's awesome.
Yeah, so they're coming along, it's coming along really nicely. I really like the combination of the yarn and the pattern, so... that's what I'm working on right now. Well,
And a baby hat, yeah.
Yeah. And the baby hat.
You can go ahead and do finished objects, because I have none.
So, disclaimer, I don't have ends woven in or blocked yet. But they are technically finished. These are the Regia Hand Dye Effect socks. Screw it. That I was working on last week. So I had finished the first one last week and was working on the second one. This is the second one. So, one of my complaints about this yarn is that it's basically a single ply yarn with a thread.
It's plied with a black thread.
Yeah, I don't know how well y'all can see that. But anyway, normally you get these nice, slow, gradual color shifts. It mixes the color together. That didn't happen on the second sock. It just very quickly and very abruptly changed from this gray to this purple. I don't know what caused that, but it kind of upset me a little bit because I was liking how everything, I wasn't trying to make them perfect and make the colors match up. You can see they don't match, but I'm kind of annoyed because it just cut off straight from one color to the other color. Am I stepping on your
You were
stuff?
on my yarn, so I pulled it away from you. I don't usually put my yarn on Leslie's side, but I did tonight, and you were sitting on it.
She's in the bubble. Or I'm in her bubble.
I moved over for y'all. I'm closer to Leslie.
So she's
I
in the
sit-
frame.
And I'm like, I'm going to sit still. I'm not going to move like I normally do. And I'll stay in the frame tonight.
But we tested, you moved, you're in the frame. So anyway, I have to weave in ends on those, but they are finished.
The knitting on them is finished.
Yeah, the knitting on them is finished, and I haven't blocked them yet either, but I'll do that at some point. I did block a bunch of, or not block, I set the twist on a bunch of my,
I finally got around to blocking
Spinning.
my Noro socks and my Vertizags today.
nice!
Yeah, it's been quite a while. So,
Yeah, that was before the Arkansas trip.
Yeah, I actually washed all my socks and got those 2 blocks. I washed my socks one at a time in a big bucket.
Oh, I
with
just
hot water and
throw them in
soap
there
wash.
and soak them.
Yeah, I soak them
That's all I do. I don't
in a
like
bucket.
wash, I just throw them in there
And I
with the
swish
soap
them
wash.
around.
Throw them in there with the soap wash.
And then when the water cools, I dump out the water and I pat them out, and then I put them over a little rack to
This
dry.
might be why yours last longer than mine.
I also have like 40 pairs of socks.
This is true.
So,
So what about spinning? What do you have to show for your spinning?
I
It's
finished
very pretty.
my Poppy Fiber Farms.
Because I can see it and y'all can't yet.
Yeah. It is this. If I untwist it, it's a little bit overspun. It's around, I haven't whacked it or soaked it or anything. I'll whack it right now. It's around, there we go, 350 yards of a fingering. So that's off the wheel. My ankle was feeling better this week. It barely hurts at all. Although I did fall up the stairs at work on Friday. And the children saw, only 2 of the children saw. And I said, if that's the only time you see that, it's a little miracle. But anyway, it was, it's not merino, it's something that's a little bit more harsh, and I can't remember, and I've lost the tag. I'll have to look it up. Mom bought it for me from Etsy for Christmas this past year. So, there's that. I might have left the tag at Tempted's house. And then I began spinning. I got one of my little balls spun. Some abstract fibers in Polworth in the Shady Grove colorway. And I think it is very pretty. I'm actually finishing spinning it for her from Maggie. She bought it and asked me to spin it, and I told her sure. So, as a favor, because she loaned me some DVDs for an exceptionally long time, so I told her to pick out some fiber and buy it, and I'd spin it for her. So that's started, and I hope to get that spun this week and plied and into her hand. She wants a 2-ply fingering around 350 yards, so we'll see.
You should be able to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You have to concentrate real hard. At least I do. If I'm trying for a certain thickness
Yeah.
or weight, I have to really
Maggie's
think about
pretty
it.
cool, though. I don't think she would care one way or another. But yeah, she wants to do one of the Ann Hansen patterns out of it. I think she wants to do Bramble. So that's
I'm
what
counting
she's
back.
going to
I'm
use
sorry, I
that for.
screwed up a decrease.
So I got some spinning done yesterday while I was watching the Football Hall of Fame people.
Oh, dude
Their
cried.
speeches. A lot of dudes cry. Emmett
Emmett
Smith
I saw,
cried,
I
yeah.
saw his.
I actually, I can't remember his name. The guy that was the running back from Syracuse that was before him. I'm going to try to get that speech somehow. YouTube's blocked at work. And show it to my middle schoolers because he talks about the importance of being a decent human being first and setting goals and stuff. And if you were to poll, 10 middle school boys at my school, 5 of them would want to be football players. I'll go with 4. 4 would want to be professional football players when they grow up. 4 would want to be professional basketball players when they grow up. 1 would be a professional soccer player. And the 1 would be probably a lawyer because John Grisham's from this area,
Yeah.
so he's got a big impact on some of my kids. But really 9 out of 10 of my boys at the middle school really believe that they will be a pro athlete of some kind. And it doesn't matter if they're the worst ever, they still believe that they will be a pro athlete.
Yeah.
Because athletics for people in Mississippi, I really think that's football's